Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hector Aguilar here once again with AguilarRealtyGroup. Today we have a special stream regarding appraisals. We're just waiting for my associate Ben to jump on here so we can go over an appraisal and what it shows and how to interpret it and all that good stuff. So stay tuned here for the next couple minutes here as I invite Ben here to the StreamYard here real quick. It'll take me a couple seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go ahead and pull up the appraisal itself here. Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late, but I'm glad that we added you on here to the stream. Today, we're actually going to be going over reviewing the appraisal report.
Yes.
Right, we're currently in a transaction right now where we received the appraisal report yesterday. So we're going to take a few seconds to kind of go over that and see how that looks. And I'm going to go ahead and share a screen real quick.
Wonderful.
So I can find that appraisal, and we're going to go over it together here real fast. Okay.
I'm going to put Vince's number there, so if you have any questions about
We're picking up from our drive. This particular property we negotiated for a buyer, and the appraisal came back a little under our agreed price. But because of the market, in this particular market, buyers are being forced to waive their appraisal contingency. So it looks like the buyer's going to have to come in with a little bit of money to close in addition to his down payment and closing cost. Luckily, it's not that much. We made an offer on this property at $560,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property here in the city of La Puente on Nelson. And when we got the appraisal back yesterday, the lender informed us that the appraisal value came in at, I believe it was $555,000. So we are currently short about $5,000. So we talked to the buyer, and we went ahead and informed him that the appraisal came in a little bit lower than what we expected, but not too much lower. So he wasn't too, how should I say, disappointed, or he was actually prepared to, and I'm having a little bit of trouble opening it right now. For whatever reason, I'm trying to.
And that's a key note. You want to prepare your buyers in advance to understand that in this market, that most sellers are wanting no contingency, no appraisal contingency in this market.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. While I open this or try and open this, Ben, you might want to share with our audience, your experiences that you've had over the last week submitting offers on behalf of some of our buyer clients.
Yeah, so right now for most buyers that I'm submitting offers for, they really want the cleanest terms possible. What does that mean? Basically, like we're talking about here, appraisals, they want it waived. Why? Because sellers don't want the headache of finding out that buyers can't afford the home later on. If it, like in this instant, it's $5,000 short. So just be aware of that. Some other things that I've learned is just loan contingency, shortening it, and also inspection period. So, which we touch base in other past trainings before. So you guys should go watch that.
We are seeing, thank you for sharing that, Ben. We are seeing right now that sellers are definitely asking for shorter contingency periods just because, there's so much competition and they want to close rather quickly. So absolutely, I'm glad that you shared your experiences and what you're seeing out there in the market. I was able to finally get the appraisal report opened here.
Nice.
And I'm going to go ahead and enlarge it here, and I'm going to get rid of this banner here real quick so we have more room to see. So this is the appraisal on the property that we received yesterday. Like I said, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath here in La Puente. I want to say it's just under 1,400 square feet. Our buyer made an offer on the property for $560,000, which was slightly above their asking price. I believe their asking price was originally $530,000. And as in most cases right now, as Ben mentioned, most sellers are asking for the appraisal contingency to be waived because buyers are overbidding on property, and we know that appraisals are going to come in potentially lower than the offers that were made on the property. So that was the case for this property. Luckily, the appraisal came in at $555,000, and I'll show that to you right now. It'll show it here, and I'm going to go ahead and also kind of go over. See here under the this area here that says indicated value by sales comparison, 555,000. So how did they come up with that value? So typically what an appraisal does, as we mentioned it in our last session, is they look at properties that are similar in size, in square footage, and bathroom count, and they kind of compare it with the recent closed sales. So you see here that the first closed sale was on Moccasin Street, half a mile away. That closed at 560,000. That particular property had also 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. You'll see here that the square footage was 1,112 square feet. And I stand corrected. The square footage for our property is just under 1,100 square feet. So in my opinion, a very good comparable. So they made some minor adjustments, and ours came in at 555. Here's another one on Rama in the same city of La Puente, just under a mile away, which they can use as a comparable. As you can see, it closed at $555,000. Again, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, almost the same square footage as ours at 1,030 square feet. So, and that came in at 555. And then we had a third comparable that they used, which came in at closed sale price at $560,000, approximately 0.64 miles away, also within the same city and zip code. So they're still within the same limit. This one was a little bit larger, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, at 1,200 square feet. But if you see here, the appraiser made an adjustment because of the square footage and extra bedroom bath count of about $8,500. Okay. And then he also made an adjustment here of $5,000 in the positive area because our property does have a fireplace. However, the 2 other comparables did not. So you'll see here he made some adjustments when it came to the actual appraisal with regards to the fireplace. So within those 3 comparables, they came up to a value of $555,000, which is fine with the buyer. He was actually quite pleased. We had prepared him that he might have to pay an additional $10,000 to $15,000 if the appraisal didn't come in, which, like I said, most buyers have to be okay with because that's kind of the trend in the market right now is buyers have to waive their appraisal contingency. So luckily for our client, he's only going to have to come in with an additional $5,000. The other thing I wanted to talk about today is, well, this particular buyer is purchasing the property with FHA. And FHA does have some minimum health and safety requirements. So one of the things that I wanted to show you here was that the appraiser actually noted that there are some repairs that need to be done to the actual property before the appraisal can be completed. And I wanted to kind of go over those with you. In this section that's called Supplemental Addendum, it breaks down some additional details. And he makes some notes. And in this section, you'll see that he noted here, let's see, he noted here some conditions on the appraisal that need to be addressed with regards to.
Right there.
Yes, thank you, Ben. So he noted here, and I'm going to highlight it if I can. I don't know if the highlight comes out in the screen or not, but what he noted here was that the appraiser noted some minor chipped paint or exterior wood trim of garage door and exterior stucco wall of garage at the time of the appraisal inspection. And why is that important? And the reason why it's important is because this home was built prior to 1978, and FHA is very, very delicate, if you will, or one of the requirements, if you will, is that the property be free, or at least disclose that the property may have lead-based paint. As you well know, lead-based paint was used up until 1978, which they stopped using lead in paint. And the dangers behind that is that if there's chipping paint on a property, that it could be ingested by a child either playing around the area or, ingesting that particular paint, and then obviously leading to adverse or unfavorable health conditions. So that's the only thing that the appraiser called out for. We've gone ahead and shared that information with the listing agent. and also in turn, the listing agent has told us that they're going to discuss it with the seller, and that we should be getting a response with regards to those items being repaired. And in this particular case, it's super simple. All they really have to do is, sand that down a little bit, primer it up, and then put a fresh coat of paint on it. We'll send the appraiser out to do what's called a recertification of that note that he made, and then he'll clear the appraisal, and then we can move forward with the loan process, and the underwriter can use the appraisal, and we can move forward to closing for this client. Now, this particular client is purchasing a property that's tenant occupied, and it required a 60-day notice to vacate to the tenant because the tenant had been in that property for more than a year. And the state of California requires tenants to be notified and given a minimum 60-day notice to vacate. So our closing isn't going to happen this month. It's going to happen in the month of August. But we're hoping that the tenant has found a property to relocate, and we're ready to close on our end. I think we'll probably be ready to close, Ben, probably in the next 2 weeks. But we'll have to wait to see if the tenant moves out. So
Yeah.
hopefully that'll be a smooth transition, and we can do our final walkthrough before we sign loan documents with the buyer and then get ready to close. So in a nutshell, that's what the appraisal report says. It's going to confirm, the current market value of the property. And I think, Ben, if you remember, we discussed last week was the shelf life of an appraisal, right? We discussed that an appraisal has a shelf life typically of 90 days, and it's just a snapshot in time of what the appraisal value on the property is currently. Now,
Right.
fast-moving market, whether it's up or down, that value can change pretty quickly. But in a normal market, where properties are, a normal market where they're sitting on the market, for sale between 2 to 3 months, that value would probably be steady. But in a super seller's market, which everything is selling in less than a month, we're seeing values continue to increase and go up, and those values, the appraised values of properties, are continuing to go up as well. Case in point is, I have a client, Marcos Arriola, that you and I talked about yesterday, right, Ben?
Yeah.
When I first started talking to him, we had appraised his property, or at least given him an opinion of value to market his property at $650,000. Right now, he's made some improvements. He's painted the house, and it's taken him a little bit of time. And in that 2-month span, his value has now increased to $700,000. Can you believe it? In 2 months, $50,000 value. And that's only because, the market is moving fast. Homes around his community are selling for more than asking price. And so it helps him also be able to expect a little bit more money for his house. So in a nutshell, that's what an appraisal shows you. That's what an appraisal will tell you as far as the condition of the property, if there's anything that needs to be done in order for the appraisal to be clear. In a conventional loan, had this loan or purchase been a conventional loan, the likelihood of paint would have not been an issue. I think we would have been okay. But because it's FHA, we have to consider the fact that chipping paint is a concern. Right,
What
Ben?
about for VA? What about for VA? For those that are wondering
really
about
VA.
VA.
For VA, it's pretty similar. VA also has some minimum health and safety requirements. In some cases, VA could be a little bit more stringent than FHA, but they too have some requirements as well. So VA and FHA are definitely a little bit more stringent when it comes to the condition of the property, and versus conventional. It doesn't mean that conventional, the house can be falling apart, but it's just different types of guidelines that FHA and VA require, and so the appraisals have to meet those requirements, and the properties have to meet those minimum health and safety standard requirements in order for those financing options to be used as a purchase tool for buyers. Is
it because their down payment is so low? That's why? One of the reasons? Or
it's not necessarily because the down payment is so low. It's because those two programs are what we call HUD insured. So they're insured. Those loans are insured by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And while the VA doesn't have a monthly mortgage fee because of its particular guidelines for veterans that are eligible to use VA, FHA buyers do have to pay a private mortgage insurance. And it's because of the insurability that HUD is insuring those properties, that they want to make sure that those minimum health and safety standards are met. That's why.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Of course. Well, in a nutshell, that's what an appraisal entails. I'm glad that we had the opportunity to share with you an appraisal We did get permission from our client to do so. So, we wanted to show you what an appraisal looks at as far as properties that he can use to substantiate or support the value or the agreed price on the contract, and also some conditions that need to be met if depending on whether the financing is conventional, VA, or FHA. So thank you again for tuning in. We look forward to having you next week as we address another topic in the real estate process, whether it's a purchase or sale. And thank you for tuning in. If you guys need help with buying or selling a property here locally in the East San Gabriel Valley or Inland Empire, please be sure to reach out to the Aguilar Realty Group. It's been a pleasure to be with you today. Have a wonderful afternoon. Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.